Hello Guardians, it is Ebontis, and in this video I want to cover the Extraction Lost Sector. This is on the Throne World, and I'm going to do this on Master difficulty. Typically all you're going to get on Legend is going to be probably a couple less champions, a couple more shielded enemies, usually your main trade-off. Burn is Arc, so we're definitely going to take advantage of that with the heavy weapon. It's an exotic. I know I sometimes don't use those, but it's one hopefully a lot of people have. If you've got a Arc machine gun, it'll probably be your best option. Shields, Arc on your Knights, and then you've got Void on some of your Scorn as well. The shields are mostly in the beginning for the Void, and then the middle section for Arc. There's not too many shields in the end, but again, if you do this on Legend, you may see a few of them later on. Overload and Unstoppable are your champions. Overload, I'm going to the Crate SMG. Honestly, this is just not a bad one to go with. If you've got a Crate SMG at all, doesn't matter. Overload, Focus Fury. Steady Hands, Moving Target. Subsistence, One for All. If you've got one that you can use that's going to be reasonable, the Vice Stinger is going to really help you be able to just unload on the Overload champion specifically. Make sure you got Major spec on there. For Unstoppable, I just went Glaive. Haven't done this in a little while, so I figured I may as well mix it up. I was trying Scout Rifle, that just seemed kind of slow and boring. And Unstoppables, there's not too many of them, so you may as well hit them a little harder with the Glaive in case people get close. Big one is Thunderlord. You're going to have a lot of little adds that you can kill with Thunderlord and the Lightning Rounds. If you want big DPS on certain enemies, of course, something like Storm Chaser, if you've got a linear fusion rifle, is going to work. But if you are looking for something that's going to be probably the most efficient with the adds in here, if you've got a Swarm machine gun, that's going to work pretty well. That's probably the other Arc one. If you got a 7 Seraph Saw, those are your Arc machine guns that I would recommend using personally, just because they seem to be more fun. Thunderlord is a very old exotic, so if you do have that one, I recommend pulling it back out of the vault or exotic collection or whatever, because it hits really hard and it's fun. Currently I'm using Heart of Inmost Light. I will switch that off just to make sure it's a bit more of a reasonable loadout here. So I'm going Arc Resistance is the biggest one that you're going to want on here. I've got Void and Solar is just kind of a mix-up as well, and then Melee Wellmaker or whatever you're using for a build. I'm using Solar, so I'm using Classy Restoration and a Healing Grenade, so not the highest DPS build, because you can totally go Arc and blow some stuff up, but I'm just going for survival here. So Thunderlord's a recommendation. If you got, honestly, more people probably have Thunderlord than some of the machine guns like Swarm or 7 Seraph Saw, so gonna mix it up. But if you guys don't want to use that one, a linear fusion rifle, if you've got one, is gonna work okay. Rocket launchers, just be careful and don't blow yourself up, for example. But again, if you do need that big shot, it's just the Arc shielded enemies are going to be a bit of a pain to take their shield off with a rocket. So I don't recommend that. If you got to go heavier, maybe at least a grenade launcher to take the shield off and then work them down. But you'll see Thunderlord works rather well. So let's jump inside. I'll show you guys how it works. Again, we are going Master difficulty, so just wanted to show that one to you. And the main difference is just going to be the Arc Burn's definitely going to be there, and it's just the champions and then more champions is what you're going to see. So major differences, probably going to be a few less champions, few more shielded enemies on Legend. So let's go in on Master. Alright Guardians, so when you jump inside, starting this one a little late, you're going to have these guys right here. Again, Thunderlord Machine Gun is going to make quick work of these type of enemies. So this is why I recommend using something like this. Try and find any of these quick guys, hit them early. And then every so often, if you can get those chain explosions really going quick, that's going to make all those raiders much easier to kill. That was actually probably one of the better chains that I've done. A little low on the health, hit that healing grenade. Raiders over here hiding. And you will eventually get an overload to spawn, so give that just a little bit. Alright, so now I'm probably gotta get a little more aggressive and find the shield totem. Try and take these couple of guys out. Get a reload on. Again, make sure you got your scavengers and ammo finders on. Just gonna help you a little bit if you feel like you're short on the ammo. Scavengers mostly, so if you do get a brick, it means something. Ammo finders, kind of a hit or miss on how beneficial I think those are. Sometimes they are, sometimes I feel like they're not. I'm out of practice with a glaive, so forgive me. Alright, now let's see if we can put some work in on this guy. And this is why I do like the crate auto rifles, just because of what they can do for champions. You're just going to be able to fire extended for a very long period of time, and then you'll see Vice Stinger pop up every so often and keep my clip going. And depending on if you've got your reload with your heavy done, see how long that clip lasts? It's kind of ridiculous. Now I can probably kill him a little quicker with that, but you don't want to try and do the machine gun kill too soon. You want to make sure they're going to be a little lower on health before you start trying to use that machine gun to kill them, because if you don't fire that overload shot soon enough, they'll reproc their health and just be annoying. Now's a good time for reloads. This is going to be a big room. You got 3 plates in here to stand on. Biggest thing you need to do is, you know, make sure you stand on each plate long enough. My advice is clear everything out before you touch a plate, because as soon as you touch a plate, enemies are going to spawn, and then if you feel like you have to get off the plate, which sometimes you may need to, and then when you get back on, more enemies are going to spawn. So it is advantageous to really use those healing grenades, classy restoration moments to stay alive on the plate as much as you can, and that's going to allow you to just only have those enemies spawn the one time as opposed to so many more. Now, one thing I usually typically have done in here is I'll use like a super just to clear some of the ads out. I'm liberal with the heavy ammo in the event that hopefully I do get some of it back. I'm going to use some of this ranged ammo because you don't have too many unstoppables until the final room. So you don't have to worry about that quite as much. Get these guys to hopefully kill each other. And if you die early on, not the end of the world. Just wanted to show you guys. It is an arc burn, so that's why playing ranged with those guys is going to be your whole point. And unfortunately, I touched the platform. I literally did what I told you guys I shouldn't do. So you do have the champion out now, which you can take care of. Unfortunately, I just didn't clear out all the ads that I was hoping I would before that guy spawns. This is going to be not a perfect run by any stretch. This will be a slower one, probably with mostly just the auto rifle. The other option for overload is kind of like a trace rifle, which could be an issue, but depends on what you're running. Picked up the healing orbs by getting that melee kill. Trying to keep the stun going, but there's just a lot firing at me. I was trying to find a decent position for him. These types of situations work well. So if you can just find a point where you're kind of a little crevice, he's not got the best angle on you, and you can keep the stun on him without too much else coming at you. That ogre's about to ruin my fun here. And if you get a point for a finisher, just, yeah, definitely jump on the finisher chances that you get. I am low on the heavy right now, which is not going to work well. Hopefully I get some to drop. But what I was going to say, I think before chaos happened and I moved in a little too far, what I try and do is actually use my super on the big ogre in the middle, because that's usually a nice way to clean up any of the other ads, get a pretty decent quick kill, because he's a beefy boy, and it's just going to be one of the ways. That's just, you know, things hurt right now if he's staring at you, so I'll leave these deaths in there for you guys. It's not the end of the world. Yeah, now's the time I'll use my super. He's been fighting some scorn, so it's not quite as bad, but depending on what's going on, if he's going to die or not. I'm running my bonk hammer build, so I'm probably getting a little bit of cheating in some books. But at this point, you want to make sure your machine gun is full, as much as can be at least, for one of these plates, and then hopefully you get some ammo here, because as soon as you stand on it, you're going to get some enemies to spawn. The champion will not come back, so if you kill the champion once, you're good. Then all you got to deal with is those guys on the far side, and then a few that are always going to spawn near. Depends on which one you're on and which one they're going to spawn close to. And if you can get it to proc, you can get the platform to go, then you can go back and hide, which is usually a good thing that I try and do. Get a little healing from my solar build. Out of practice with the glaive, but I figured I'd give it a shot. Alright, so now I'll typically do the other side. I do the middle one last. Theoretically, you do the middle one first if you hate it the most, so get it out of the way, but The champion will appear, so if you can stun him quick, that's just going to make your life a little bit easier. But the goal is generally just try and stay out of line of sight or stun the champion once. Make sure you stand on the plate long enough to get the stun in, or get the plate finish done. And then if you can get the classy restoration, that'll kind of help keep you alive. If the plate gets done, then you can definitely retreat back into some cover. And then from here, I've got a little better angle to go after these guys. Do things in the right order. Kill the little guys before the champions tend to stay on their sides as well. So as long as you don't get too over the top with them, you can usually manage them fairly well. This isn't like a great solar build just because I don't have a whole lot of solar weapons going into this. If I did, it would probably be a lot better, but for now, I'll just show you guys. I still like the healing grenade and classy restoration, just not as optimal as, like, say, my dungeon build when I can choose what I get to use, because guess what? Champions and shields and burns and all that stuff definitely limit what you can run. But as I get a little closer on getting his health down, I'll get a bit more aggressive so I can get the finisher. Would love a heavy brick, but doesn't seem like it wants to play nice there. Last one. Look for your champion. I forget which side this guy spawns on. Try and stun him in the back quickly, if you can. Then I would go for healing. You can keep that stun on him, keep the healing going. Not a great thing that I just chunked my hammer. I'm gonna throw a grenade, try and kill what I can. If I can get it to pop just like that, then I will definitely bail. It's usually what I will do. If you've got exotics that keep your, you know, melee abilities or anything coming back faster, just use them. You guys know I'm not using exotics so much on this one, except Thunderlord. But if you've got exotics for armor that make your abilities come back faster, please use them. They're definitely worth it. I did get a brick, which is definitely helpful. Huge. Can't do much to the overload with my glaive, so I just gotta wipe those guys out and then hope my auto rifle does the trick. Boring as it may be, it should get the job done. Actually have focused fury on this one, so that'll probably work out. Can you not run away like that? That'd be great. Oh, he got his health back. I got distracted. That's my bad. But even these little spires like this, if you can use them to kind of take the shots, always that thing. If the enemy has the gun in the right hand and you can line up that right hand, but you've got an angle on them, definitely make that a distinct thing, because if you can line of sight their gun, you have a pretty good shot at keeping them from getting quite as much damage on you. Gonna be close to a finisher any second. There we go. I'm literally at that point just hitting the finisher button as soon as I can. All right, so I did get some ammo for the next room. Thank goodness, because that was going to be painful without. And yeah, you'll have a couple enemies here. Amazing how weak some of your weapons feel when you're doing this level of content. Thunderlord puts in some work, so I'm trying to kill the two champions before the wizard comes up. Wizard is arc, and as you get closer to the time limit, you got to be careful what that one's doing to you. Okay, that was a weird stun and not stun. Wizard is up because I probably killed one champion. That tends to be how that thing spawns. I don't know if he's going to march in here, but it's a pretty good test to find out if he will. You line of sight yourself from him before he, like, gets all unangry. You actually can usually just mess with him pretty close. Now, if he's really pissed off at you, make sure you get behind some cover. Yeah, if you can pull him into this room, which it's hard to do with both, but if you can pull the single one in here, very easy to manage back here. And then, typically, a little healing nade. See if I've got any of the other ads up. This is the boss of this area, so you may as well empty your heavy ammo on him if you can. That'll be probably pretty good. Now if I can go super, it's just a safer way to finish him up. Pretty go. Biggest thing, make sure you jump up here and finish the ghost. Watch your timer if you do have to get aggressive like that. One of those things you don't want to mess with. Last couple of guys are optional. You can run up here and grab your chest. Hey, there we go. Lost sector completion. Definitely not solo flawless or anything, but it's there for you. So that is Extraction. That is a reasonable loadout. Thunderlord is great in there because the arc burn and machine guns got a buff, and it's an exotic I know most of you have. If you have a arc machine gun at all, it's still going to work extremely well. Probably actually have some more ammo than that one would. Glaive or scout rifle, completely up to you guys. And then I just tend to prefer these crate auto rifles for overload. Let's get back to the top. So I figured that was a pretty reasonable loadout. The burn is arc, so you got to watch the knights and the wizard. But make sure your heavy is arc to make sure you get as much damage as possible. The knights are going to have the shields in the second room, at least on master, and then void in the first room. Outside of that, the overload, which are the overload scorn champions, probably are going to not be champions on some of the places if you do this on Legend. Other than that, Overload and Unstoppable, whatever you prefer for those. If you found the video beneficial, please drop a like below. And if you have a loadout, build, something like that for any class, throw that down in the comments. Or if you just want to say hello, say hello. If you guys want to find me on Twitter or Twitch, you can follow me there at Ebontis. Otherwise, right here, please hit that subscribe button and the alert bell. I've got many videos coming for you. Also just got done with my dungeon guide for Duality for anybody. Hopefully that's helpful. You guys who are YouTube members or Patreon subs, thank you for that extra support. All of you are awesome. See you soon.